How does a Mexican Reed Richards and a comic inaccurate costume and a gender-swapped Silver Surfer correlate to some comic accurate masterpiece? I have the answer. It doesn't.
So last week I made a video on this YouTube channel called Ranting For Vengeance, and I went into it knowing what to expect because, well, I've seen people make other videos about him, and I kind of wanted to give my 2 cents about it because, you know, he talks a lot about comic books and stuff like that, but he brings very political aspects into him, like political aspects that shouldn't even be a big deal, like gender swapping, race swapping, you know, character sexualities, you know, that kind of thing, because, hey, they're fictional characters. If they want to change things up and make it more interesting or be able to give them something different than what we're used to, then that is completely fine. I did a little bit more research. I found out Ranting For Vengeance himself is 15 years old, so great, cool, I just made fun of a child.
Fuck them kids and fuck you too.
But one thing I didn't know is that, well, let's just say that whole kind of thought process that we hear from Ranting For Vengeance apparently runs in the family, because doing more research, I found out that his dad, yes, his dad has a YouTube channel called RP MMA, and I mean, just take everything Ranting For Vengeance does with the comic books and place it here, as the dad seems to be more fixated with WWE and MMA stuff, something that I'm not too into, so I can't really, you know, talk about a lot of these situations like I could with, you know, the Ranting For Vengeance video, but it's just interesting to see because their thumbnails are so similar, and if you watch any of the dad's videos and Ranting For Vengeance videos, you realize they work in the same studio. It's the same backdrop. So yeah, the rumor that this guy is his dad is pretty much true at this point.
You are the father.
I mean, when you go onto the dad's channel, the first video you see, the most recent one, is titled, "Is It Okay to Be White?" And I don't really know what to think, but I think I know what to expect just because of what his son does on his YouTube channel. It's going to be something to how we see or hear a lot about successful black athletes or something like that, that at this point, do they really care about the success of the white athlete or something similar to that, which, again, no. They're athletes, and when athletes can do fantastic things, they're going to get recognized for it no matter their skin color, their, you know, gender, or their sexuality. That's just how it works. He also gets into American politics, and one thing that always seems weird to me is when these non-Americans talk about American politics. I'm not saying you can't have an opinion on it, but they get so worked up about stuff of that politics that has nothing to do with where they live in general. It's kind of like, you know, Tom MacDonald. Let's talk about him. He is a Canadian rapper who sings a lot about American politics and acts like he lived in America and sees the changes and whatnot, or sees the bigotry and whatever, when it's like, no, you're Canadian. Why are you so worried about a country that doesn't necessarily, you know, affect you that much? I'm not saying, I mean, I know Canada and America are kind of, you know, territories together. I mean, Canada is North America, but they're 2 separate countries, so shouldn't you be more worried about your prime minister than our president? I mean, I don't sit here saying, I wonder what the Canadian prime minister's up to and what he's gonna fuck up. That is, you know, nothing that I can really speak of because I don't live in Canada, and outside of a few things, I don't know what goes on down there, and I don't know much about their politics, so why would I want to speak on it? He's been talking about Conor McGregor a lot too. I guess it's because of the, you know, recent allegations against McGregor, where he was, you know, very feely touchy with women, which wasn't consensual. Hi, editing me. I also wanted to point out that the shorts page on this RP MMA channel, Ranting For Vengeance, dad's channel, is even worse than the videos he posts, because the first short I saw when I clicked on the tab was this thing that said Ian Gary is fruity, and I'm guessing Ian Gary is like a MMA fighter and whatnot, and it's because of like certain comments and certain like celebrations and moves that this guy made that apparently he's fruity, which for those that don't know, fruity is used as a term for someone who is homosexual or at least comes off as homosexual. I don't want to call it a derogatory term, but it definitely is used more in a negative way than it is for, you know, a positive look. But if you don't believe me, just look at the short and see for yourself.
I will say this now, the two single greatest people in the world that have calf kicks are me and Alexi Pereira.
Shut the fuck up, you cunt!
And in true Ian Gary style, he reacted to that fight as he does, being 1000% delusional. Me and Alex Pereira have the best calf kicks in the world, and you're kind of going, okay, what are you actually talking about? Then we jump over here and he says this.
But you know what? I showed so much evolution today. I hit him with stealth mode. I walked him down, I prayed him.
I'm kind of retarded.
This fight week for Ian Gary has pretty much been the same as Pride Month. You know, there was a lot of prancing around. There was a lot of feminine, fruity walks with purple pantses and things like that, crouching over with your arse up in the air. And I guess the correlation to be made between Ian Gary and Pride Month is the fact that both of them are based in mental illness.
I mean, I don't know at this point. Again, we see where Ranting for Vengeance gets this from, because who thinks like this? It's not a normal thought to think, and just blame it on mental illness, that's also very fucked up as well. So I just thought I'd mention that his shorts pages know better, and this one caught my eye right away just because of how ridiculous it was. But outside of that, yeah, let's get back to your regularly scheduled program.
Shut the fuck up, you cunt!
And some of the stuff, you know, doesn't get political, but there's definitely a lot of it that does. And when you watch these guys' videos and then go and watch his son's videos, you kind of understand where all this hate towards people who aren't white come from. And I hate to throw that out there, that it's like, oh, if you're not white, they don't like you. But I mean, when you heard his son's comments about Pedro Pascal, like, what is he good at? Cleaning and jumping over the border.
If Pedro Pascal is playing Mr. Fantastic, I just want to ask, what's he really fantastic at? Cleaning houses or jumping over the border?
And even in one of the videos, I think Ranting for Vengeance even said that, like, you're supposed to be scared of black people.
When you say I'm scared of black people, newsflash, you illiterate troglodyte. Everybody is.
Which is just an insane sentence in itself. And then you hear some of the stuff his dad says, you just kind of go, yeah, I know where he learned it from. Because when you're that young, you're 15, you still haven't developed all, you know, your thoughts and whatever. It's not fully developed yet. So, of course, when you have someone like a parent who's telling you about certain things and how you should feel about them, you're gonna want to, you know, follow them and listen to what they say, because they're your, you know, main higher authority that you're used to, and hey, you must trust them because you're around them all the time, and if they're telling you this stuff, then, I mean, it's gotta be the truth, right? So, not that my opinion has changed on Ranting for Vengeance after finding out his dad has a YouTube channel which is equally just as hateful and as bigoted. I realize with him, he has time to grow. He's still a kid. And I want to see where he's at when he becomes an adult, if down the line he ever regrets some of those videos and some of his thoughts on some things. Because I can tell you, when I was a kid, you know, I made videos that I wasn't proud of, even though I was only really a kid on this channel for a year. I think I started this channel when I was 17, about to turn 18, so, you know, I wasn't a kid long, but I did, you know, make videos in my media class that I'm kind of like, you know, if I did that now, I could have did it better. And, you know, there's some things that I thought maybe not as racist or bigoted as, you know, these guys, where it was just like, you know, looking back at it, I go, you know, I understand where everybody's coming from, and I understand why people feel that way, and now I have more of an understanding of it than I did when I was, say, 13 or 14 years old. So, you know, that's just how it works sometimes. So I hope Ranting for Vengeance can be the one that, you know, early on, as it, you know, when we see him make these videos while he's still a kid, I hope he can grow and become an adult and realize, like, hey, you know, I don't feel that way anymore. It was kind of a thing that was kind of pushed on me by my father, who ran a YouTube channel, who would talk about things like that. But yet again, I don't know. I still don't respect the kid because he has the thoughts like that, but his dad is equally as bad and should be held more accountable, because this is a grown adult we're talking about that has these thoughts like this and these opinions, and again, they're his opinion, whatever, but at the same point in time, when they're hateful and bigoted like that, it just shows the kind of scumbag that you are. And to raise a son into that kind of lifestyle, it's not cool. Like, don't force thoughts and beliefs on your children just because you want them to feel that way or you want them to believe in that certain thing. Let them figure things out for themselves and then talk about it when they get older. But either way, that is my final thoughts on this. I just found out that his dad had a YouTube channel from someone in the comments, and I wanted to check it out just to see if it was as bad, and maybe this is where, you know, Ranting for Vengeance gets his thoughts from, and well, lo and behold, he does, so there's no surprise there. But don't send hate to this guy either. I said that in the Ranting for Vengeance video. Don't send hate to him. Don't send hate to his dad. It was me more kind of just talking about the situation and kind of spreading awareness on what kind of content you'll see from these guys if you go into their YouTube channel and watch it. But I would also recommend maybe watching some of their videos just to kind of understand where people are coming from as to why they realize that these people are hateful and bigoted for their beliefs on some things, when really it just comes off as being hateful because you don't like said race, gender, or what have you. But until then, that's it for me. Stay safe out there, and I will catch you all in the next one.